to another episode of On Air with Chris Shanafelt. Obviously, I'm your host, Chris Shanafelt, and it is a pleasure to now welcome on to the show one of the top safeties in all the country, let alone in the FCS. He's Rob Rolle of Villanova, the Villanova Wildcats, representing here on the On Air show. Rob, really do appreciate you taking some time this afternoon, or I should say this evening. How's everything going, man?
Everything's well. We're back at school. I'm home right now, but we're all back at school. A good percentage of the team we're back taking summer classes, and we're a week into workouts. So, everything's going well. I'm excited, pumped to be back, in full-fledged with the team.
So, Rob, you're coming into, or I should say last season, you're thinking it's your senior year, and it was, by the way, congratulations. You did just graduate a couple of weeks ago. That's big time, certainly. But so last season, it's your senior year. You were named the CAA's preseason defensive player of the year, preseason defensive player of the year. Unfortunately, 4 games into the season, you suffered a torn ACL. First things first, how's the knee feeling nowadays? And how were you able to still contribute to the team, specifically the secondary, although you weren't suiting up on game day? Because you may not have been there physically on game day, but talking to a couple of your teammates, your presence was still certainly felt come game day.
Yeah, well, looking right now, I feel really good with where I'm at and the progress I've made with my knee. Like I said, I'm at school right now in the summer, so every day I'm still doing rehab, whether it's just, some light strengthening stuff, mobility, things like that. So, squatting and stuff, doing heavy weights, so I'm pretty much back to where I was in terms of like just function and, stability and things like that. So that's definitely a good thing to feel. I'm starting to get that confidence back and not really worry about, any pain in my knee or anything like that. So that's big. And then, just what it was after I got hurt, I kind of just gave myself a couple of days to get my mind right and kind of really let everything sink in. And then, I understood that I still had a big role to play on the field or, in the study room, in the film room or in team meetings and things like that. I knew my presence still had to be felt. So, I kind of made it a goal to myself to just get more involved, become closer with my teammates off the field. So just, talking to them, getting a better understanding with them, that I may not have been able to do otherwise. So, just keeping that relationship going with them and being there for them any way I can, whether it's just talking to them, pumping them up, helping the young guys out in the film room or, because when I got hurt and, a couple guys started to change positions just to fit the defense better. So just, giving them pointers and giving them, some things I learned from my experience. Just doing whatever I could to stay as involved as I could.
Again, 4 games in, unfortunately, you tear your ACL. Luckily, you still had a redshirt year under your belt and was able to use it for last year, which now brings us to where we're at today. Were you able to bring or be around the team at all for spring ball? I'm not sure if the NCAA kind of wants you to wait to join the team until maybe a week or 2 or 3 before the season or when summer training camp begins. Were you able to be around the team at all for spring ball?
Oh, yeah, I was fully involved. At that point when it came to spring ball and then like the conditioning and stuff that we did in the spring, I was pretty much participating in the full spring ball, just no contact and no team drill. So I was able to, for the first time, get back on the field, get a couple of individual indie periods in, some kind of drills when it came to like special team periods, but like not too much. But that was like the first time I got back on the field.
Awesome. Sounds great. Again, he's Rob Rolle, the standout safety out of Villanova, joining me here on the On-Air show with Chris Shanafelt. And Rob, last time we seen you play a full season was back in 2016, your junior year. You were first team all-conference, which is quite an honor playing in a very tough CAA. You were also an FCS All-American. You logged 63 tackles, 5 pass deflections, and a country high 7 interceptions. How were you able to have such a big impact on the defense after kind of seeing limited action your first 2 years on defense and, kind of moving around? I know you were playing cornerback to start off with. What was it about the safety position as well that kind of made you look like almost an all-natural when you were given the opportunity to show it?
I just think after, my first 2 I played corner and then more strong safety, like in the boundary. And then my junior year, I got the opportunity to play, like to start at free safety. I just think like all the knowledge I had learned from playing those two positions in the previous years was like when it came to my time to play and be a full time starter. I had all the knowledge and like I knew all the responsibilities of the other guys because I moved around. It came like time for me to finally settle in and hone in on one position. It helped in knowing so much like what other people's responsibilities were. Like I knew the defense better. So I think that was really big. And though not having like that much experience, but still having the knowledge and like the knowing what everyone else's responsibilities were and understanding where I had to be there and just fitting into. For some reason, our defense really clicked and everyone was really bought into doing their 111th. And I kind of was like, I guess like a hybrid. I played free safety and then third down I would move kind of into the box or move down into the slot. Play like a more linebacker position in the middle and high hole and cover two. So I just got the ability to move around, and make plays like, in situations where opportunities presented themselves. But that was just kind of a result, like I said, of and then like I said, everyone else on the defense just being really bought in. Like I said, it wasn't me, doing anything, being Superman out there. It was just, good things going my way, and we just kept the ball rolling every game.
And like you said, it wasn't you just being Superman, but also you guys had, and I mean, you guys really had a really standout defense, a very good defense with some very good players. Who can we expect to kind of step up on the defense this year, though, Rob? I mean, three guys, at least off the top of my head, from last year's defense are now moving on to the NFL linebacker Ed Shockley and defensive backs Malik Reeves and Trey Johnson. Who can we expect to step up, and how are you going to make sure those guys are ready to step up in their new roles?
Well, we have a couple of seniors returning, and then I have a co-captain on the defense as well, and Jeff Steve. He's I think he plays middle linebacker for us this year. He's been a guy that's consistently throughout his career been a great tackler and just been a baller for us. So I think you'll definitely expect Jeff Steve to be someone that we count on and carry the weight of the defense in terms of down in the box and stuff like that. And then you have a lot of guys coming back that got some good experience early on, Detrell Reed and Jafonte Johnson. So they both got good experience the last couple of years. So just guys like that have got experience and now they're finally entering the tail end of them to be, finally get their wheels turning and do everything they can do. So just them being out there and showcasing their ability. And in terms of the back end, we have younger DBs, but Jaquan Amos, he started as a true freshman, and he made some real noise as a true freshman in the CAA. So I could fully expect him to do well. But I mean, I don't really know because like going into my junior year, I wouldn't say I was going to go and have 8 picks. It's just kind of we play the defense, and if we all buy in, one game it could be one person having 15 tackles, and the next game it could be another man. So I mean, I think it just kind of determined. I mean, it kind of just dictates by how teams kind of scheme against us and how we respond to that.
Yeah, you got that absolutely right. Now, Rob, we are, if I'm not mistaken, 3 months to the day from opening your senior season at Temple. Especially seeing as what you're able to go, or seeing as what you went through last year with the injury. How pumped up, how excited are you to kind of kick this senior year of yours off? Again, especially against an opponent like Temple.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. When I was so happy to finally get through finals and graduation and get all that stuff out the way because I knew, in 2 weeks I'd be right back at school starting summer sessions, and that kind of just speeds up the process. And then before you know it, we'll be, driving down the highway and going right into Philly. So, everyone's, last year was a kind of a combination of injuries and, just a lot of things, just built up this year. More so than ever, we're just really, really excited, be back together, pumped up and excited, like, to see what we can do. We know last year, like, the way we finished, and then, if you look at the last game versus Delaware, like the way we played versus Delaware and the way we played versus Rhode Island is two different teams. And if you look at that, there was no one else that stepped on the field. There was no one. I mean, he just, went crazy for us. It was just a different mindset and a different energy that we brought to the field. So I think once we finally realized that in the final game of the season, we didn't make the playoffs, and then we see everyone go into the playoffs and make their championship run. That they made the way we did last year. Fully prepared, we're fully confident we can go and ball with anybody. So I think now we have a better understanding as a team of what we can do and, how we can harness our energy and make sure we do what we can.
Yeah, and, I mentioned earlier how tough the CAA is. It's arguably the top conference in the FCS. I mean, I think there's no doubt it's between the CAA and the Missouri Valley when we talk about the toughest conferences in the FCS. But looking at the CAA, Rob, I mean, we all know about the success, excuse me, that James Madison has had over the last couple of years, winning a national championship. Stony Brook made a nice run last year. You got teams such as Richmond and William and Mary, and you could go on and on about the teams that are in the CAA. How about you? I mean, a guy that's played at a very elite level in this conference, had success in this conference. What about the CAA and the talent that it offers, the competition that it offers, excite you? What do you love about it?
I think more so than any other thing, I think everyone comes in every week with a chip on their shoulder. So 10 games into the season and you're 10-0 and the other teams, 0-10, that game's going to be a tough game. I think that just speaks about the character and integrity of the conference in and of itself, because we know regardless of who you're going to go play, whether it's JMU and they came off a championship game or a championship season, or if you're going to play, Richmond or every week you got to bring your A game or you're going to go out there and get embarrassed. So I just think no matter what, we all know if you don't show up any week. So it just helps everyone else be prepared and understand that there's no cakewalks, there's no rollover games. Every time you have to show up, or you can be going on the bus, and regret wishing you came more prepared to play.
Well, Rob, you know what it's like to be a part of a winning team. You've had success there at Villanova. If I'm not mistaken, your freshman year, John Robertson was still under center at quarterback. You guys made a playoff run that year. A couple years after that, you guys went, I believe, 9-4. Last year, though, you guys are coming off of a losing season. How are you going to make sure or do your best to make sure you guys get back to the winning ways and kind of forget about last season?
It's kind of a nasty little trend that we have going. We come in and we're 11-3 in our freshman year, and then the next year we're 6-5 and we don't make the playoffs, and then the year after that we're 9-4, and then we make a run to the playoffs, and the next year we're 5-6 and we don't make the playoffs. So if we keep following the same trend, we're kind of built to come back for a good season. But in all seriousness, I think last year there was a lot of people who had the opportunity to go to the next level. A lot of people stepping into roles in which they haven't played before. So it was just a lot of, I don't want to say chaos, but just uncomfortabilities, So wipe the slate clean, and we understand, that we're only going to be as good as be, and if we don't show up every week, then right now we don't really, care, where we're going to end or they go into the playoffs, or when it comes to championship time. We just want to make sure we take every day as it comes, and make sure we get better each day. Because if we look forward to going to play in Temple, or if we look forward to when we go play JMU, we're not going to handle workouts the next day, or summer conditioning or something like that. So I think as a team, we just understand we have to, wipe the slate clean and just get our minds right. Understand it's one day at a time, and if we look too far ahead, then we're going to slip up and look back and regret that we didn't take things more serious and take our time with things. So we're not really worried about playoffs or championships or anything like that. We just want to get through summer workouts, get everyone into camp really healthy, and then start preseason camp and get the ball rolling.
How much, if at all? Mark Ferrante took over as head coach last year. Did that have any? He's been a part of the coaching staff for many years. Did that have any impact on you guys last year? Entering year two of him being the head coach. How does that better you guys? I suppose from last year to this year.
Yeah, it wasn't too much of a change, I would say, with him, coach, because he was here for so long underneath Coach Talley, and those same core values and principles and rituals and all that stuff that we do is all been the same. So game day experience, locker room, everything. It wasn't really too much of a change, but we had so many other moving parts that I think his move was just like the one that we knew was like the sure one. So his, other than the other coaches, was like the best move because, we had our strength coach leave and then our defense coordinator left and our safeties coach left. So it was just like a lot of moving parts. And then throughout the summer, throughout the winter and spring workouts, we kind of weren't sure who was going to be where. Or we haven't met the coaches yet. So we're kind of going through workouts with like a level of uncertainty, but at the same time, I think it helped us because we knew at the end of the day it was going to be just us, regardless of who we had. That was going to be the head coach or the strength coach or the coordinator. We knew at the end of the day when we strap up our helmets, it's going to be us that goes in the field. So in a way, I think it helped us, stick together and understand like when we go to play, if you come to the Villanova game, we don't got 10,000 fans. It's all our parents and a couple others sprinkled into the crowd. Like we know we're playing for us, we're playing for each other, and that's kind of like a mantra that we kind of started this past offseason. Regardless of what's going on, we're not worried about anything on the outside. We're playing for each other, and that's been something that's kind of helped us out. So his move in there into the head coach really wasn't that bad, and he's younger, a lot younger than Coach Talley was, and he's a lot more aware and hip to a lot of things that go on. And I think he's bringing like a new, fresh breath to the program, and I think everyone really likes it. We bring alternate helmets and other game day experiences and walkthroughs and stuff like that. So I just think he brought like a real like fresh breath that the program needed. Not to say Coach Talley wasn't doing an amazing job as well, but like I said, a nice fresh breath to keep the ball rolling and take the program to the next level. And I have no doubt in my mind that given time and he puts the work in, we'll be exactly where he wants moving forward.
A couple more questions for the FCS All-American defensive back Rob Rolle out of Villanova here on air with Chris Shanafelt. Rob, really appreciate your time. Describe your game for those who may not be too familiar of your game or of Villanova football, period. How would you kind of describe your game if you're kind of trying to sell yourself and make people tune into Villanova football? How would you do so?
I would just say, you're looking at a guy who I'm gonna work extremely hard every day, no matter what. But just my body makeup and the way I play the game, I'm not gonna come up and knock someone's helmet off every chance I get. Not to say I'm not, I'm afraid to do that or anything like that. I have all the confidence in the world to play the game. Like I said, I'm not gonna come up and knock everyone's head off every single play, and I'm not gonna, I know like the things I have to work on and things I want to keep, progressing in. But at the same time, the things that I lack, I make up for in the film room, and I think that kind of just showed, like my junior year, just put myself in the best position to make plays. So, I don't care if I go out there with 3 tackles, but I bet you I'll be around the ball, and I have the confidence to do that. So, just understanding wherever I lack my ability on the field, I'm not going to say I'm the best man coverage, I'm the fastest or the strongest or the quickest to do this or that, but if I can do something, I'm going to find a way in the film room to make sure I can do it. So, regardless of the situation, who I'm playing or who we're lining up against, I have all the confidence because I'm going to make sure I'm prepared to do so. So I'm just going to see someone who, like I said, studies film to the point where, like, I'm finding ways where if the opportunity presents itself, I'm going to put myself in a position to, change the game and make plays that are going to affect the outcome of the game. So that's kind of what I look forward to doing. And at the same time, being that consistent, working to keep getting better, being that consistent tackler, being better in open field, keeping my body, my body frame underneath my feet, just doing the little things that I know I need to keep working on. But like I said, just being as prepared as I can to make those plays.
And Rob, I remember during the draft process, I spoke to your teammate Malik Reeves, now with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm curious as for you. Two of the two positions, in my opinion, that talk the most on the field, wide receivers and defensive backs. How do you kind of present yourself on the field? And Malik Reeves did it on the show. He's done it many times on the football field. What is it? The shark head. I know it's not that. It's some type of shark. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Do you have any type of celebration yourself?
I don't know. It's kind of all in the moment. I don't really think about them. When we play with each other so much in practice, and we goof around so much when we're getting our work done. That most of the time, whatever happens in the game or whatever celebration we do is probably like whatever we talked about, throughout the week in practice. So you could probably expect something different every game. Like I remember junior year after I had the first interception. I think first Towson had the first interception, and like I didn't know what to do with the ball. I'm like running. I was about to like put the ball on the ground, and then I'm like, I don't want to drop the ball, so let me hand the ball to the ref. and it was like chaos. And then I was like, if I get here again, I'll make sure I'm going to. Next week I had another return, and like Malik's running with me, Trey's running with me, we're all running down the field, like everyone's running and we're jumping like this and stuff like that. So we're all super excited. And, like whatever dance move or whatever celebration comes to mind is, that's what it's going to be. But it's all in good fun. We kind of want to put ourselves in position, have fun with the game. So whatever we do, the DBs like we do talk a lot of smack, and so it's like, but you kind of have to have that confidence and bring that energy, because if you don't have the confidence and you don't bring that type of swag and energy to the field, then you set yourself up for failure. So we put ourselves in the best position to be great in all aspects.
No doubt about it. Final question. What are your expectations for your last year as a Villanova Wildcat? Last time you're going to be suiting up for the Wildcats. What are your expectations? And, Villanova basketball, they've won 2 championships in the last 3 years. Does that give any extra motivation to the football team to kind of try and pull one out as well for the football team? And not only Villanova basketball, but the Philadelphia Eagles also just won their very first Super Bowl in their franchise history. Does that kind of give you or your teammates, the coaching staff, any extra motivation to kind of try and do the same thing for Villanova football?
I think anytime when you see people so close to you having the success that they do, it gives you that motivation and that drive to, go and replicate exactly what they did. And I would be lying if I said, like, we didn't have the same aspirations, to do that. But I don't know. We don't really look at, like, they're doing this, so now we gotta do the same thing, because we've had the same energy and we've had the same goal regardless of whether they won or not. But like I said, seeing them do it and seeing the benefits that they get from it, like when everyone comes and they support them and all the fans and stuff like that, and you want that. You want everyone to come support your games. You want everyone to come tune in when you're away. You want everyone to tune in on to TV. So just looking at that, it does bring some type of extra motivation to us, because like I said, you see them do it, like, so if they could do it, why can't we? So that's kind of just how it is, and we understand that. But in terms of expectations, for myself and as a team as a whole, I don't really, I guess kind of as I progressed throughout my career, I've learned to like not really set number of statistics for myself to just try to meet, because like my junior year in high school or my sophomore year in high school, I went out with the expectation like I want to have 5 or 6 interceptions, and then come championship game, all the way at the end of the year, we're like 10-1, and I had none. And I didn't get my first pick until the championship game. And then next year in the summer, I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Like, I came in with these high expectations, and now I felt like I didn't have as good a year as I wanted to. And then my senior year, I finished with 4. So, it's just like I come in with no expectations and I ball out. So I'd be lying if I said my junior year at Villanova, I was going out there to get to go get 6 or 7 interceptions or whatever. I kind of just take the approach to show up and put yourself in position to make plays. And when they come, you better make sure you make them. So I don't really have any expectations to lead the team and get through the season healthy, have no hiccups, just finish out my season, finish out my career here strong, and, do everything that I know I can do. But as a team, the goals are the same. We like to be undefeated at home, have a winning record on the road, get everything done that we can, and then get a CAA championship and eventually a national championship. But all those things will happen, I guess. It all happen if we go back and do the little things, and we take it each day at a time. So we have those goals in mind, and like we literally have them on. Goals are every day, so we see them before we go out to the field. But we know all those goals don't mean anything if you don't go and put the work in today or the next day. So, we have those in the back of our head, and we have the countdown in our locker room for the first game, last game. We have the countdown clocks going, so we're excited for that. We see that every day, but we know when we leave the locker room, whether we're going to the weight room or to the field, you got to punch the clock and put the work in that day. So that's kind of our mentality and our mantra. So that's what we're doing.
There we go. Villanova All-American defensive back Rob Rolle. Really appreciate you joining the show, Rob. Again, was really looking forward to this, and again, thank you, and all the best to you, all the best to your teammates, all the best to the Villanova Wildcats football team this upcoming season. And, hey, in about a month or so, we got the NBA draft. I have a feeling Dante DiVincenzo is going to be a Chicago Bull. We're going to have to get you on for a quick scouting report come draft day, my man.
Hey, reach out to me. They're my dogs. I'll put in a good word for them.
Sounds good. Rob, thank you very much. All the best, man.
For sure. Thank you.